Hot Tub Factory Outlet is now open in Draper. Don't wait months for your hot tub. Get it now. Enjoy that outdoor deep soaking experience you've been thinking about all year. Whether you have limited space or lots of room, you can have that relaxation you've been wanting today. Shop Utah's newest selection of Viking hot tubs. They're all on display at the beautiful new showroom. Best pricing in Utah and no wait time while supplies last. Hot Tub Factory Outlets at hottubfactoryoutlets.com.
Are you getting the quality health care that you need? You can trust Dr. Nagao to take care of your family's medical needs. Dr. Nagao was born and raised in North Ogden, and he's come home to serve you. Now taking new patients.
Good evening. This is the 5 o'clock report. 20 minutes of uninterrupted news, commercial free. I'm Lindsay Ertz in for Jeff Kaplan this evening. KSL's top story. The Davis School District will have an independent review of the bullying that led to the death of a 10-year-old black girl in North Salt Lake. KSL News Radio's Kira Hoffelmeyer explains.
Izzy Tishner died by suicide last weekend after she was reportedly bullied at Foxborough Elementary School in North Salt Lake. Now the district says their investigation will delve deeper into the claims and review their own handling of critical issues like bullying. The Davis School District was the subject of a scathing report released mid-October where the U.S. Justice Department reported finding widespread racial harassment within the district. Izzy's mom said her daughter told her teacher didn't like her and made comments about how the class smelled, and then kids bullied her daughter about it. In a statement, the school district said it investigated the incident and responded quickly and appropriately. Kira Hoffelmeyer, KSL News Radio.
If you or a loved one are struggling with thoughts of suicide, reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. And with the stroke of a pen, Dixie State is now Utah Tech University. The governor signed legislation today making that change officially. He also signed into law the new congressional district map. Opponents still plan to sue over those boundary lines. And breaking news here on KSL News Radio, Better Boundaries Utah is criticizing the governor for signing the congressional maps into law. The organization called the newly created districts gerrymandered and criticized the legislative committee for totally disregarding the recommendations of the Independent Redistricting Commission. Better Boundaries says it has opened a bipartisan political action committee to create electoral consequences for incumbents of both parties. The group says they're also pursuing legal action. The Utah State Prison is currently dealing with a COVID outbreak, and corrections officers don't know why. KSL News Radio's Paul Nelson begins our team coverage.
Inside the state prison in Draper, there are 66 confirmed cases of COVID-19, and only 3 of them were what they call intakes.
People coming from a county jail.
But Corrections Communications Director Caitlin Felstead says the rest happened within their general population. Luckily, none of them were serious enough to need hospitalization. The active cases are being quarantined for 2 weeks.
And then depending on testing results, they may go into general population.
Felstead says with corrections officers and visitors coming to the prison, they can't fully keep COVID out, but they want to make sure the families of the inmates know what's happening inside.
We put updates on the website as frequently as possible.
Paul Nelson, KSL News Radio.
Colorado and Idaho are seeing an increase of COVID cases, with Colorado taking measures to avoid the collapse of their healthcare system. Intermountain Healthcare Infectious Disease Dr. Brandon Webb says Utah has maintained a consistent amount of high cases.
Over the last 3 weeks, our 7-day moving average is above 1,000. Yesterday, we had over 1,500 new cases. And what we've seen over the last month or so is this stable community transmission.
Dr. Webb is not confident Utah's in a good place heading towards the winter months.
Even though the epidemiologic curve is not accelerating, we're not in a good place going into the winter months right now. Our case transmission is still high throughout the state. And for November, going into the winter months where we expect to have higher rates, and especially going into the holidays, we're starting out in a place that doesn't give us a lot of confidence.
According to Dr. Webb, we're seeing a similar trend of high cases across western states.
The dynamics of COVID transmission are influenced by a lot of different factors. The amount of community immunity is one. The weather, of course, behaviors that are influenced by weather and other things. The average age of the population, the size of families, the types of business practices that are in place, those vary tremendously from state to state. And just like we saw in the spring of 2020, where The eastern communities were hit hardest to begin with, and then the trend shifted slowly west. We're seeing that again, and right now, like you mentioned, in the Intermountain West and the Rocky Mountain region, the case transmission is highest here compared to anywhere else in the country.
He says the only effective solution to stop the spread and prevent new variants is to achieve community immunity from COVID. KSL's top national stories this hour from ABC News. Neighboring Colorado dealing with a growing surge of COVID cases and has started allocating its scarce medical resources. ABC's Alex Stone continues our team coverage.
Calling it a crisis in Colorado, Governor Jared Polis says the unfolding situation in his state of overwhelmed hospitals, full ICUs, and high death rates right now almost entirely involves the unvaccinated.
If you're fully vaccinated, the risk is 10 times less or even greater than having a major health problem.
He says 1 in every 48 Coloradans has COVID right now. The numbers are going up. Polis says it's primarily impacting the unvaccinated, and those who are getting severely ill are almost entirely the unvaccinated.
This is really a critical moment in the pandemic. It has never been more dangerous for the unvaccinated than it is right now.
He's urging those who do get COVID, especially the unvaccinated, to immediately get monoclonal antibodies as possibly the best chance of saving their lives. Alex Stone, ABC News.
KSL News Time, 5:05. First look traffic now on the 5 o'clock report. Here's Ricky Meese.
We have a couple of hot spots. Emergency traffic westbound I-80 in Summit County with delays that start prior to Kimball Junction, all due to a crash by Jeremy Ranch. It's mostly on the right shoulder, but you're going to see a very slow ride in that vicinity. Also, emergency traffic in Utah County, where we've had a crash on southbound I-15. This is in Spanish Fork. It's been blocking 2 left lanes of traffic. You're going to see a lot of backups there. Also, a slow ride coming around the point of the mountain, northbound I-15, starting prior to the point into Draper. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.